Are you thinking of selling your house, and are you wondering whether or not you want to hire a real estate agent, or you want to sell it by yourself? Well, that is a very good question. And that is one of the reasons why I got into the business 24 years ago. So the story was my family and I, we actually, we moved to San Diego from New York. And my sister and I, we moved to San Diego. And then we were trying to get my mother to move here to San Diego. And she said, well, I will only move to San Diego if you help me open up a store. So we were brainstorming, and we found this for rent sign on some storefront, and so called it. And long story short, from renting that storefront, we went from a gift shop to a coffee shop, from a coffee shop to a restaurant, and it turned into Cafe Caspian at the time in University Heights in San Diego. And then we started serving customers, and then we were living about 20 minutes away from where the Cafe Caspian was at the time. So we had to commute a lot at night. We would close the store at 9 o'clock at night. We would clean up and close up, and by that time it was 10 o'clock. And so then we had to drive 20 minutes to a half an hour to get to where our home was. So it was getting tiring after working a full-time job and then working the restaurant. So I decided so my mom said, let's rent a place close by to the restaurant. And I said, no, let's look into buying something. And this is in the year 2000 when we opened the restaurant. And so we started looking, and I started getting really, really familiar with the market in University Heights and North Park, University Heights, Normal Heights, all of those areas. And I knew exactly how much every house and what was the inventory in the neighborhood, how much each one went for. And then in that search that I was doing, found this for sale by owner. And at the time, the for sale by owner, by my calculations, was about 100,000 under the market value that everything else was selling for. So we ended up putting an offer and buying the place from the seller directly. And of course, it was a lot of work, and I'm not sure, if we did good, or if he did good by doing the deal without agents on either side. But after that, I decided, okay, well, I know how to do this. I want to work more at the restaurant. I want to have more flexibility. And at the time, I was working for a biotech company. So I quit my job, got my real estate license, and started selling. And to this day, I remember that experience, thinking that if that seller had hired a real estate agent, he would have probably ended up with more money than what he got from us. And also, we would have had a better experience and a better purchase in the long run, because the house started having some issues that we did not find out at the time. Of course, we did a home inspection, but we didn't know exactly what to look for. And beyond the home inspection, we didn't do any more investigation on the condition of the house. And that is one of those things that when we are working with buyers today, we are definitely doing. It's not just, investigation on the condition of the property doesn't begin and end with a home inspection, but there's a lot more that we do for our buyers in terms of investigating the property, bringing other experts. So home inspection is the very first thing that we do. And then from there, we break everything down. We get estimates. We investigate more. We bring in experts just to check on everything, the foundation, the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, sewer line, HVAC, anything else that holds the house together. We do investigate and make sure that our buyers are getting a good deal. And the same on the seller side. We market as much as we can, and let the whole world know, strategize on what is the best strategy for getting the best price for our sellers. And that's how we come up and sometimes get a whole lot more. Now in the recent years and after the COVID years, because of the lack of inventory, when a property goes up for sale or has been going up for sale, the sellers were able to get a lot more than they were asking for. And supply and demand, that's how it works. And yes, agents, based on the comparables that are out there, set a price for the property, but that does not mean that that is the actual market value of the property. Market value of a property is what a buyer is willing to pay for a house. And when we were going through the COVID years, and when we had interest rates at 2 and 3%, when money was way cheaper than it is now, then it's basically how bad a buyer can afford the house and how much money they have to bring in. So it has nothing to do with what the agent sets as the price, but it all has to do with the desirability of the property and the desire of the buyer to pay for that property. That determines the value of the property and how much it actually ends up selling for. So what's the pros and cons of selling with an agent versus without an agent? And in my opinion, the biggest do or don't that comes in as far as selling with or without an agent would be the disclosures. Disclosures are a big point of protection or non-protection. A seller that puts the property on the market without an agent, what is their incentive really to make sure that they're disclosing everything and they're being truthful to the buyer that's buying the property? Or versus if you are buying from an agent is a licensed professional, and they have their career on the line, they have their reputation on the line, and so they're going to do a lot more scrutiny in making sure that the disclosures are out there and that the buyer is buying a product that is worthy of the price that they're paying for. So that is one of the pros versus the cons of buying from an agent. And of course, everybody says commissions is a big reason why somebody would sell as a for sale by owner versus with an agent. Well, if an agent is able to not only market the property professionally, but also to negotiate the property, negotiate on behalf of the seller and get more money, which 99% of the time that is the case. A lot of studies and a lot of surveys actually show that when a house is sold through an agent, then the seller ends up getting a lot more money, even if they wind up paying agents commissions in order to sell the property. So again, we go back to the pros and cons, and we end up being at the fact that an agent brings a value, and an agent brings negotiation skills that help the seller not only protect the seller from liability, but also gets them more money. And the same is true on the buyer side. An agent is able to protect the buyer, make sure that they know what they're getting themselves into, and what are all the minefields that could be present throughout a transaction, and that money that either the seller is paying on behalf of the buyer, or buyer is paying themselves, which is one of those trends that we will start to see. Then in either case, an agent is worth their weight in gold. And don't forget that you are paying for the services of of an expert. And just like you are going to an attorney, or just like you are going to a heart surgeon and you pay for their services, an agent is no less. An agent is somebody that knows their craft, and they are there to make sure that your rights are protected, and you're paying for that service. Anytime you are working with a professional, you're paying for their service. So there's no difference when you're working with a real estate agent. That is the long and short of it. Thank you so much for joining me today. And if you have any questions or comments about this topic or any other topic, please let me know. And I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up, and also to subscribe to my channel so that you see these videos as I am putting them out there, because I am my goal is to make sure that I'm educating the buyers and sellers. And the more that I can have your subscriptions, the more I can put the word out there. So thank you so much. And if you are trying to get a hold of me, my name is Roxanne Govari, and I sell real estate out of San Diego, California, but I can be available to you anywhere in the US. So if you're watching this video someplace else, still reach out to me, and I'm happy to be available to you and answer your questions. And there is my website, my email address, and I like to hang out on Instagram as well, or on Facebook if you happen to search for my name there. So thank you again for joining me, and make it a great day.